And so now, obviously, 2 great wins there, but these would be even 2 greater wins coming up this week.
Yeah.
So it got kicked off with a 4th of July parade this morning.
Yeah,
I showed you the video that I saw of them leaving at 6 a.m., fireworks exploding, police escort. I said, is this a 4th of July parade, or is this Randall leaving for the state tournament? I don't know, both.
It wasn't, and it wasn't just a few bottle rockets here and there. It was big, and so I thought that was pretty cool.
It was. So obviously, headed down now to Austin. I always get Round. I know Round Rock Austin. Everyone says both, but I know they're playing at UT Austin right there, Dishfalk Field, but. Playing Texarkana Liberty.
ILO,
not ILO. So you have the stats kind of right there. What have you kind of really, just like reading over a little bit, what do you think this matchup's kind of entail?
Well, and again, as we found out in the Stephenville series, you expect every matchup to be tough, and it's going to be. Interestingly enough, Liberty ILO was the runner-up in District 15 to Pleasant Grove, which was has been a ranked team all year long. They were expected to be one of the teams that could possibly make it out of that region into the state finals or state tournament. But they lost along the way. Salina, ILU beat Salina in the previous round in a 1-game playoff, and Salina was ranked 2nd in the state. And so Salina was another one that was expected to possibly make it to state, and so give credit to the Leopards of Liberty ILO. They did what they had to do, and they didn't have an easy road to travel down playing Salina, and I think Salina was one of the only teams in the state to beat Randall this year, as a matter of fact. So yeah, credit to Liberty ILO. It's hard to tell. The UIL website doesn't have a lot of stats, but like Randall, they've got some big hitters, and it looks like just based on their records. I don't have ERA or anything like that to look at, but based on their records, they've got a couple of pitchers that have started the majority of their games that have very good one-loss records, 11-2 and 10-2, and then another one that is 6-1. So it looks like they're pretty deep as far as pitching goes as well, which, you're just not going to make it this far if you don't have the pitching depth. And so, but same thing can be said for Randall. Their pitchers have been dominant. And so it's going to be a great matchup, I think. And you know that the win over Salina caught Randall's attention because, again, Salina was ranked 2nd in the state. And Liberty ILU wins the coin flip, so they play a 1-game playoff instead of a series. Wow. And it worked out for the Leopards. They got the win 5-4 and scored late in that game to take the lead, and then ended up winning it. So that's the opponent for Randall. And again, at this point in the season, it's going to be tough. But it's different at state because it's a 1-game playoff. I mean, just like Liberty ILO played in their last round, Randall, of course, has had a series, and that's what most of the playoff matchups are, best 2 out of 3 series. So that'll take some adjustment on the part of the Raiders to understand, hey, we've got to throw everything into this first game because we've got to win that to get to the championship. So it does change the strategy a little bit, but that's where that pitching depth comes in so big for the Raiders. And I think that definitely will be a benefit to hopefully give them a bit of an edge.
I tried to ask Coach Prost yesterday kind of what they were going to do, kind of pitching-wise. What would you do?
Oh, goodness. That's when I'm glad I'm not a coach.
Oh, yeah.
I think, I would probably start Carson Hafner. He started the first game against Stephenville, and he's had a no-hitter in the playoffs. He's been one of their aces all year long, along with Duncan Bowles. I don't know if I would start Bowles or if I would start Hafner. Logan Tice has been outstanding.
Yeah.
You can start him. And then you've got Peyton Bush kind of waiting in the wings. He's been a good pitcher for them. So I don't know. I think I would maybe go with Carson to start off with, and then, if need be, you can go from there. But again, you've got to. It's an interesting strategy because you've got to throw everything. You can't get behind. That's really what happened to Randall back in 2007. They got behind in the first inning, 5-0, and just never recovered in that state semifinal game against Corpus Christi Moody. So, yeah, you don't want to get in a big hole early, which is what the Raiders had to deal with last time. So hopefully Randall will be able to start quickly and get a solid outing out of their starter in game one or in the semifinal.
Yeah, I mean, kind of how you mentioned, it's kind of a push and pull because obviously you want to win the state championship, but you have.
But you know you might
can't
have
like get there unless you get. Yeah, like you said, it's like who do you start? It'll be interesting. We'll see. We'll see.
That's why Coach Hambleton gets paid they're not big bucks, but that's why he's the head coach. Put it that way. I know he and his staff will have a great game plan. And I don't think you can go wrong. I mean, their pitchers have all been so good.
Yeah, they have.
That, you know, whatever formula they've been using throughout district play and then throughout the playoffs has definitely worked. And so just really going to be exciting. I think they have a chance to beat Liberty Ilo. And then, you know, it's either #1 ranked Sinton or China Spring in the state championship game. But first things first, you've got to win the semifinal.
Absolutely. Well, you kind of mentioned, we have a few minutes left. You mentioned that 07 game, and so I kind of want to, you know, you'd mentioned to me before Sports Drive, you got the chance to go and call that game.
Yes, I did.
So this is a full circle moment broadcasting for you a little bit. I know that Steve Rivera is going to go down there, you know, broadcast this one, but still, I mean, how was just that experience, you know, what was it, 16 years ago, going down there, and then 16 years later, I mean, they have a phenomenal squad. I mean, how was, you know, that experience and everything for you?
That's pretty cool. I remember that 07 team. They were an outstanding team as well. Had followed them throughout the course of the year and then in the playoffs, and I thought they had a good chance. They just ran into probably the best team in the state in the semifinals. Corpus Christi Moody was ranked #1 in the state, and they showed it. And they're one of those programs that they've won multiple state titles. They're always seem like they're always good in high school baseball. So they knew that was going to be a tough one. And you know, it's so hard once you get to state not to let the stage you're on you know, get to you. And I think that might have happened a little bit to Randall in the last. They were at Dell Diamond that time in Round Rock because it was what is 5A now. It was still 4A then, but it was actually Class 5A as we know it now, because since then they've dropped in classification. But I think that stage was so big then that it impacted them a little bit. They got off to a terrible start, gave up 5 runs in the first inning, and Brad Probst came on in relief in the first inning. And he really shut Moody down the rest of the way. And they only scored a total of 5 runs. But he allowed, I think, one of those 5 runs and after he came on. But he pitched really well. So hopefully he and Coach Hamilton can help the guys not be too nervous, just to relax, play, have fun, enjoy the atmosphere, but not let it, you know, be a factor in the game.
Absolutely. Well, we have a few seconds left. I kind of want to mention something that I really just thought of, and I knew it, but it's kind of crazy. So Lone Star Cup, obviously Randall is just a shoo-in
they're
for
blowing
4A.
Everybody away.
But Nazareth, too, is first place in 1A. So both schools are going down to baseball state tournament, and they're both in first place. I think Nazareth's a little bit in first place. I don't think they're like as far ahead as Randall is. But I think it's just a cool kind of coincidence there. And Randall has another chance, you know, they just need another trophy case there.
They're going to, for sure. Yeah, that is a pretty cool deal. And that's great to see both programs. And they were both very good programs.
Absolutely. Well, Mike, thank you so much. And thank you for joining us on the Sports Drive. We'll be right back here tomorrow at 3.